Welcome everyone to this reading part 3, Reading for Information Analysis. Now, before we get started, I'm just here in the reading part 3 section of the CELPIP library. Okay. And I want to remind you that we have this great video of tips and strategies. And it gives you a more detailed analysis of how you can approach reading effectively and answering the questions effectively for part 3. So if you're interested in that video, I will leave a link in the description box for that, okay? Now, today we are going to be analyzing a sample from volume 8. I love part 3s because it's always a topic usually about Canada, okay? Usually about Canada or something related to Canada. And today we're analyzing about the Yukon Territory. Okay? All right, everyone. Okay, now I'm just going to zoom in here. Now, everyone, I will be giving you an opportunity to answer the questions as we go. Okay? Now I'm going to be reading, I'm going to be analyzing information, and then I'm going to be reading the questions. And we're going to do it in the way that it says in the guide. And then you can tell me, or you can think for yourself, if the question is in the paragraph or not. Okay? And also, I'm going to be giving you some simplifications and some vocabulary definitions. Okay? Let's get started. Yukon is the westernmost and smallest of Canada's 3 federal territories. Beautiful place. I really want to go there. Whitehorse is the territorial capital. So capital of the territory. Area means territory. The territory was split from the Northwest Territories in 1898. Receiving royal assent on March 27, 2002, the federal government modernized the Yukon Act to confirm Yukon rather than Yukon Territory as the current usage standard. So it's just saying here that they changed the name from Yukon Territory to Yukon in 2002. Modernized it. Okay. The 2006 Canadian Census examined Canadians' ethnicity and ancestry beyond grandparents. So we have some good words in there. Okay. So we have census, record of the population numbers. So it's just getting a record. We also have here, I saw ethnicity. And ethnicity means your racial and cultural background. Can be heritage as well. So ethnicity means more about your race, whether you're Asian or European or Latin, and culture combined. Okay, that's ethnicity. And ancestry, it's more about your the people before you. Parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, okay? So it says they did a census about Canadians in the Yukon, and it says, out of a Yukon population of 30,195, only 1,345 or 43% responded with a single answer. 57% of respondents selected multiple ethnicity, making a simple assessment or evaluation of the ethnic portrait or ethnic picture impossible. Okay, too many different ethnicities. From the total answers, 118,035, 13% are of Aboriginal, North American Indian, or Métis origin. Okay, so those are some races here in Canada, native races. Métis is very common. Métis means mixed, a mixed race. Métis, mixed. Okay, stop here so you can keep that here. Okay, and this percentage might be a little higher if the Canadian origin includes both First Nations people and European descendants. Descendants. Where they came from. Okay, where people come from, your descendants. Okay. All right, so very good. We read the first paragraph. Now let's look at the questions. And I want you to think, is it an A or not? So number one, how the territory is climatologically different within itself. So climatology, this is about climate, right? Okay. Within itself, this is about inside. So it's saying how the climate is different inside the territory. Is it talking about that there? No, right? It's not talking about climate. Number two, geographical similarities between the Yukon and its neighbors. So geographical, geography, this is talking about the geography. Can be the land, okay, the land. So geographical similarities, is it talking about that in paragraph A? No, right? No, it's not talking about geographical similarities. Number three, constitutional amendments for the sake of defining the name Yukon. So constitutional means related to the Constitution or law. Okay. Amendments, so constitutional and then amendments means changes, right? Changes. And then for the sake of, for the main reason or purpose. So law changes or constitution changes for the purpose of defining the name Yukon. Is it talking about that in A? Yes, right? Yes, it is. Over here, we see the federal government modernized the Yukon Act. So that's like a constitution. Act is like part of the constitution. Act means like agreement. And it says here they changed it, modernized it to confirm Yukon rather than Yukon territory for the sake of defining the name Yukon or using Yukon for that purpose. Okay. What about number 4? The reasons for interest in the Yukon for athletically inclined people. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, athletically, about athletes or sports people. Okay. Inclined, inclined, interested in, inclined, interested in. So if you're inclined, it means you're interested. You're interested in doing that. So people who are interested in athletics. Is that in paragraph A? No, right? It wasn't talking about athletically inclined people. The scene of a writer's inspiration for literature. The scene of the place. A writer's inspiration. Inspiration. So inspiration, something that gives you ideas. So when you have ideas, you're inspired. Okay? So the place of a writer's got his ideas for literature, for writing, for books, literature. Is that in paragraph A? No, right? No. Migrations, people moving into the Yukon in search of financial benefit. So migrations into the Yukon, so people migrating or moving for financial benefit, for money, financial benefit. Okay. So is that one in paragraph A? No, right? 7. Diverse backgrounds of its people which blur accurate demographics. Diverse backgrounds. Diverse. Diverse, right? Many different backgrounds. Background. Your background is your history. So many different backgrounds of its people which blur, which blur. Not clear, blur. Okay? Blur is not clear. And accurate, accurate, exact. Demographics, demographics about population. So many different backgrounds of people which make it not clear to talk about the population. Is that one in A? Yes, right? Yes, yes, it's in A. It says here, right? Here it talked about many different people from many different parts. Okay? And it said here, making a simple assessment of the ethnic portrait impossible. It's not clear. It's not accurate. We can't do it. Okay. Number 8, statistical differences between the population of Yukon and the rest of Canada? Statistical okay, means numbers, statisticals. The population of Yukon and the rest of Canada. Okay, is that one an A? I would say maybe yes, maybe no. It says here this percentage might be a little higher if the Canadian origin includes both First Nation. So it's giving us the statistics of the Yukon here. But I don't think it's comparing to the rest of Canada. So it's just telling us about the Yukon statistics. So for now, we can't put anything. Okay, so I don't think it's A because it's only talking only about the population of Yukon, not comparing to Canada. Okay, and number 9, modern employment statistics or numbers and resources. 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 Okay, resources. What provides something for you? So your income resource, what provides you income? Your food resources, what provides you food? Did it talk about that in A? No, right? Okay. So then everyone, we read the questions very well, which we should do in the first part. Now let's get to paragraph B, okay? At 5,959 meters, 19,551 feet, Yukon's Mount Logan in Kluane National Park and Reserve is the highest mountain in Canada and the second highest on the North American continent, after Denali in the US state of Alaska. Alaska, also beautiful. So it's talking here about this mountain being very high. The territory's climate, I remember a question, is Arctic in the north, north of Old Crow, subarctic in the central region between north of Whitehorse and Old Crow, and has a humid continental climate in the far south. Okay, south of Whitehorse, and in areas close to the British Columbian border. Mhm. So here it's talking about climate, how the climate is different inside the territory, okay? Several rivers run through Yukon, some being the Stewart River, Peel River, and ever famous Yukon River. Huge river, yes. Beautiful rivers that it has. So let's see which ones can be in B. How the territory's climatology is different within itself? Yes, right? Because it talked about how the climate is different inside the territory. Geographical similarities between the Yukon and its neighbors. Now, it talked about Alaska here, but it doesn't talk about similarities. It just talks about this mountain. So, no. The reasons for interest in the Yukon for athletically inclined people? No. The scene of a writer's inspiration for literature? No. Migrations into the Yukon in search of financial benefit? No, right? Statistical differences between the population of Yukon and the rest of Canada? No. And modern employment statistics and resources? No, right? So we got one, B. So now let's go to paragraph C. Yukon's historical major industry has been mining, lead, zinc, silver, gold, asbestos, and copper. Okay. The government got the land from the Hudson's Bay Company in 1870 and split it from the Northwest Territories in 1898 to fill the need for local government created by the population influx of the gold rush. So it says that here the how the government got the land and how it started to create the Northwest Territories to fill the need for government created. So lots of people came there, influx. Influx. That's a good word. Influx. Okay. Influx. Lots coming, increasing. So lots of people are coming in. The gold rush. Now, the gold rush is a historical moment in which many people were going to different parts, specifically mountainous areas, to try to find gold. Okay? Thousands of these prospectors trying to find gold flooded the territory, creating a colorful period recorded by authors such as Robert W. Service and Jack London. So these authors, they wrote about this period, okay? The memory of this period and the early days of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, famous police in Canada, as well as the territory's scenic wonders and outdoor recreation opportunities, make tourism the second most important industry. Yes, I would love to go there. So it's talking about that industry there. So let's read our questions again. Geographical similarities. No, right? The reasons for interest in the Yukon for athletically inclined people. Maybe it talks about recreation opportunities. So let's put a maybe on that one. Maybe. Let's put a maybe, but we'll check. The scene of a writer's inspiration for literature. Yes, that one for sure. Remember it said here that these writers, they were inspired by this colorful period and this situation of the gold rush. Okay? Migrations into the Yukon in search of financial benefit. Yes, right? Also, yes, because it says that lots of people, population influx for the gold rush. So they were searching for gold, financial benefit. Okay? Statistical differences between the population of Yukon and the rest of Canada? No, right? Modern employment statistics and resources. Maybe it talked about tourism and it talked about mining, but it says here historical, and here it says modern employment. So maybe not. Let's look at paragraph D to be conclude. Manufacturing, including furniture, clothing, and handicrafts, follows in importance along with hydroelectricity. Okay, so more industries. The traditional industries of trapping and fishing have declined. Of course, we changed that. Today, the government sector is by far the biggest employer in the territory, directly employing approximately 5,000 out of the labor force of 12,500. Okay. Labor force, how many people are available? Yukon's tourism motto is larger than life. Yukon's major appeal or interest is its nearly pristine nature, so untouched, beautiful nature. Tourism relies heavily on this, and there are many organized outfitters and guides available to hunters and anglers and nature lovers of all sorts. Mhm. So lots of people go there for nature, it says here. Sports enthusiasts can paddle lakes and rivers with canoes and kayaks, ride or walk trails, ski or snowboard in an organized setting, or access the backcountry by air or snowmobile. Climb the highest peaks in Canada or take a family hike up smaller mountains, or try ice climbing and dog sledding. Wow, ice climbing. Sounds dangerous, but very interesting. Okay, so let's conclude whether it's D or E, okay? Let's conclude. So, geographical similarities, D or E? Looks like E. It didn't talk anywhere about how it's similar between Yukon. It mentioned Alaska here, but it didn't talk about its geography, okay? Just talking about that mountain, okay? So we got that one, but I wanted to change one. Number 4. It's more D, right? Athletically inclined people matches directly with sports enthusiasts. I saw that here. Sports enthusiasts. That matches. So that's why it's more D, number 4. And statistical differences between the population of Canada and the rest of Canada, D or E? E, right? Because it didn't really talk about the differences between the population of Yukon and compared it to Canada. It only talked about differences in the population of Yukon. That's it. Didn't compare to the rest of Canada. And modern employment statistics and resources, D or E? D, right? Because it did say here very clearly how the traditional industries of trapping and fishing declined. It talked about new industries and who employs the most people. Okay. All right, then, everyone. Very interesting reading about Yukon. And I think that we've got all the answers here. Okay. All right. So, everyone, of course, we did that nice and slowly and clearly. Okay. But let's keep in mind that that's the method that we should be doing quickly in the final, in the real exam. We should be going between reading the paragraph, checking the questions, reading the paragraph, checking the questions, reading the paragraph, checking the questions, and reading the paragraph and checking the questions and making final decisions as well. You notice I changed one of them. Okay. Okay, very good then, everyone. Very good. And now I will be leaving a link in the description box for you to practice, everyone. Yes, we need to practice. And so it is the same reading. Okay, you can read it again. And then you can answer the questions. Okay, according to your thinking. Different questions according to your comprehension. Okay. And it should be timed here. It will be timed, okay? And so that will be really good for you to review and practice this reading. Now, also, everyone, let's remember that if you need further practice, if you need further practice for reading part 3, especially for 7s and higher scores, our CELPIP library has over 60 examples, everyone. Very, very good examples. Current, past CELPIP exams and CELPIP material. Okay. And for that matter, in the same link, you will find a link to purchase a library pass. And most importantly, look at this. You can get a 3-month subscription right now for only $10.99. Very low cost in comparison to other materials out there. And this material has helped lots of students achieve any score they need. Discount code CELPIP79, and you can get that great deal. Okay, everyone? Let's remember, okay? Practice makes perfect.